Tiny friends, thank you for being here today. Welcome to my channel. Today I just have a little ditty for you guys, and I'm going to be using these 3 items here to create some crystal balls. And that birdie that you hear is Kiwi, and she's my cockatiel, and every time she hears my voice she's just a pretty bird. And sometimes when she hears my voice, she just gets to chirping and chatting. So she is my pretty little bird for sure. But okay, so let's get back to these crystal balls. Now, I have these beads here, and I've got these beads from Joann Fabrics, these bead caps. I really like them because they have a Celtic design on them, and they come in an assorted pack with 3 different colors, 2 per color. And I'm going to start with this one because I really love it. It's my favorite one out of the pack, and it's kind of like an aged antique blue. So I thought, you know, these were going to make perfect little stands for the crystal balls. Now, I also purchased this pack of glass globes from Walmart. It was 3 in a pack for a couple dollars, and it comes with some caps so you can hang them if you choose to hang them on a chain or a necklace or in your miniature scene. And I really like these ones because they have a hole in the bottom. And my idea is to create crystal balls, but the miniature vision came to me to create an active crystal ball. So I'm going to use this spider webbing here. And it's just Halloween spider webbing. And the hole in the globe is going to allow me to create some sort of mystical, magical power going on inside the ball. And these globes can also be used for fish bowls, snow globes, or even some hanging lights. You can double them up and hang them. So I just thought they would be really great, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm also going to make some pretty little crystal balls with some beads that I have as well. So I'm going to show you a few different ways. Now, here I want to show you this idea that I was having while I was trying to come up with the way of creating the activity inside the crystal ball. And all I've done is wrap the spider webbing around a bead pin, and I'm poking it through the hole of the bead cap. Now, you could do this if you want to try it with a safety pin or a needle, a sewing needle, a sewing threader, or even maybe a toothpick, depending on the hole of your bead cap. But this is where, after I pulled it through, I realized it looked like a burning incense. So this is where the idea came for the burning incense that I place inside the fortune teller room. Now, here is a dry fitting of what it's going to look like when it's done. And I do this often, tiny friends, while I'm creating something from scratch, because it helps me get a physical vision to the miniature vision that I'm having in my head. And then, you know, it just gives me some more reassurance and maybe a little bit more encouragement to proceed with the vision. But it does kind of look like that, and I thought I was glad that that idea had come through while I was working through this. But I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to use this bead cap here. And all I'm going to do is turn it over and put some glue on the middle. Now, it's got to be glued to the bottom of the glass globe here, and then it's going to be glued onto the stand, and that's what it's going to look like in the physical form. So I'm just going to add some tacky glue, and I could have put the spider webbing through the bead cap hole. There's a hole in the middle, but that would have been too time consuming. So all I did was take some tacky glue, put it in the middle of the cap, and added the webbing, and I just pulled the webbing flowing upwards. And then I added a little bit of tacky glue with my fingers on the very tip of the webbing. And you can go all the way down to the bottom, to the base, if you'd like, and do this. But I was only doing it to the tip because I wanted the smoky mist coming from the bottom to look like misty looking, and then flowing into a single stream flowing up. But you could do it either way if you'd like to try this, and whatever way you're trying to achieve. But all I'm doing, and I trimmed it down. If it needs to be trimmed, trim it down. And then I'm just trying to push it over more towards the middle, because I don't want it leaning over, you know, to one side or the other too much. So that's all I'm doing here. And now here's the second way that you can do this. I have some Twisty Ties here that I've gotten from either freezer baggies or garbage bag box or lunch baggies. And these ones have a clear wire inside. So I've stripped them of their casing and I glued the spider webbing with tacky glue to the wire. I set it aside to dry completely and then came back to it where I was able to twist it and turn it into the shape that looked really well for me. So you can also do it that way as well. So there's two different ways you can go about it. And then I'm just going to glue it down to the bead cap, making sure that it's flowing from the middle. If that's, you know, not what you're going for, but I was. And then I'm just going to glue this globe down to the cap. And I already have some Aleene's. I already had some on there because this is the second time that I was doing it, and that's what you're seeing here. And then I've glued it down to the cap where now I can take the same Aleene's glue, and it's the jewelry and metal glue that is perfect for this kind of work. It's perfect for bead work or glass or any type of work like that. So that's why I love using it. It has a few seconds, you know, and I could just glue it right onto the base here. And it gives you a few seconds to work with so that you can, you know, adjust the pieces if you need to adjust them. But all I'm doing is putting a dab right on the tip of the bead cap. And then I'm just lightly, a little bit of pressure because I'm so heavy-handed, pushing it down patiently. This is where you have to put on your patient pants, tiny friends, because it does give you a few seconds to allow for adjustment, but then it grips and locks tight really quickly. So that's where you're wanting to actually make sure your piece is straight before it takes that lock tight grip. So our first one is done, and we're going to continue with a different kind of crystal ball. And all I've gotten here is some really pretty beads and a variety of different bead caps. And I'm just going to play around here and see which ones look good with which caps. And you know, you could just go into your stash and pull out, you know, I've got bead caps, I've got spacers, you can use larger eyelets, you can use all kinds of different things for a base or a stand for your crystal ball. So I just pulled out a few pieces so that it would be a little easier to make a decision. And once you start to get to playing around and seeing which ones look good, it always comes to you, tiny friends. So, you know, it's just part of the process here. And that's the fun part about it, because you get to play and see, you know, what looks good, and then you get more ideas, and then you get off track, and oh gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna definitely put that pink one. That's one of my favorites that I show in the fortune teller room, and it has pink and silver flakes in it, and that one's actually going to go on that little gold bead cap there. And I'm just going to take my Aleene's jewelry and metal glue and just put a dab down. Now I just want to put a little dot where I can see it, and then all you do is just place your bead right on top like that. And I had to take this one off camera a little just so I can adjust it a little bit and straighten it out, because you, like I said, you only have a few seconds of just a small tiny window where you can make some adjustments before it actually locks tight into place. And tiny friends, you can make a whole bunch of these in a small amount of time if you're using a quick glue or a super glue or jewelry glue or metal glue, whatever. But that's why I really like these kind of projects that don't take a lot of time to set, and you know, there's not a lot of waiting time for the drying. And I really needed a variety because my fortune teller needed a variety of crystal balls. Now here I have two pretty little beads here, and I chose these beads because they have crystals inside of them, and you know, they're going to make my crystal ball look like a crystallized crystal ball. So that's why I chose them, and I really like that idea a lot. And I have two different sizes here, But I'm going to move on to finish up our last 2 active crystal balls, and I'm going to use the same technique minus the wire. It's just going to be the webbing straight to the tacky glue. And I've chosen 2 smaller silver bead caps, and they have a pretty design on the outside of them. But I'm not really worried, and with these I didn't really put a lot of time into the manipulation of the webbing because I want them all to look different. I want them all to be flowing in a different way, not all exactly the same thing. So this way, and this way, when, you know, whoever is using the crystal ball, it'll look like they're actually conjuring up the power of the ball. Now I could go ahead and just take a little dab, a little bead of the jewelry glue here and place it on top of a stand. And then I'm just going to go right ahead and glue the 2 pieces together. And it's going to set in super quickly. I don't even think that this takes a minute to set in, tiny friends. It's like really quick and a really good glue to use for miniatures like this. Now here's our little stand, and I can go ahead and just finish up the last one, and then we'll glue the globes on. So I'm again going to take a little bead of the jewelry glue and place it right on top of that stand. And tiny friends, I really hope you're enjoying this video today, and if you are, please give it a thumbs up and let me know so in the comments below. And let me know if you're, you know, wanting to try some of this, because this is super fun, and I hope I have encouraged you to go ahead and give this a try and create some crystal balls as well for your scenes. Now I'm just going to add these 2 pieces together, and it's going to be like a 1, 2, 3, easy breezy, glued together. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how I actually glue that glass globe on. And I'm still using the jewelry glue, tiny friends. I'm going to take small dabs of that, or little beads, and I'm going to go around the whole base of the cap. And I'm actually putting it inside the cap around the webbing, because when the glass globe sits on the cap, it's actually going to sit inside and sink in a little bit. So I'm just placing it around, and I'm going to carefully, and I am taking my time when I'm going to be inserting this into the globe, because I didn't use any tacky glue on the ends or to manipulate this webbing, and I don't want it to shift to one side or the other, even though it may be centered in the bead cap. I didn't want to take any chances of it doing that, so I just took my time, and I'm giving it a little bit of pressure, focusing on not being so heavy-handed. And there it is. And after I finished this one, I realized that the bead was a little uneven on the bottom, and that was just from the way it was molded. And that's okay, because all I have to do here is just turn it around. It leans a little bit, but I'm just going to turn it around where you can't really notice that. And that's a little trickery of the eye kind of trick that happens a lot with miniatures, tiny friends. There's a lot of eye trickery going on. But if this happens to you, I don't want you to worry at all, because you can just shift it around or rotate it. Don't not use your piece because of that. All you have to do is just move it around a little bit to where it's not so noticeable. And here's all our little crystal balls, tiny friends. I really hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, please give my video a thumbs up and let me know so in the comments below. And maybe subscribe so that you can follow along with me on my miniature journey, because I would love that. And I really want to thank you all. I really had so much fun today sharing this with you. Now, I do have a couple more videos to share with you, and one of them will be that really long video or project that I've been working on that I've been trying to get out there for y'all. Now, after that, I am going to take a small break just to create some of the requested miniatures that I have to get out for my tiny friends. But when I come back, we will be going right into the Josephine house and touring that, and I will be talking about the history of that and the story behind it all, pulling out some pieces that I worked on and giving them their final details. And we're going to be talking about some of the miniature visions that I'm having for the future projects of the house. So until then, tiny friends, thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.